So what is going on here, Dana? Like, is this just promotion or is this something else? Does Jon Jones have some dirt on Dana White?
To have anybody above Jon Jones right now just goes to show that you know absolutely fucking nothing about combat sports and fighting.
G'day guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about Dana White and just his absolutely insane, continuous glazing of Jon Jones. Like at this point, I mean, can somebody do some investigation into what has happened between Jon Jones and Dana White in the last few years for him to just, every single time we see Dana White in an interview, in a press conference, he's losing his mind over anybody questioning whether or not Jon Jones should be fighting against a 42-year-old Stipe Miocic and whether or not Jon Jones deserves to be the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the UFC right now. I don't know why Dana White is getting so worked up about this, but to me, I find it fucking hilarious. I think it's comical how worked up he's getting. It's almost as if, you know when you go to like a family get together and there's like 3 or 4 of you and everybody sort of agrees on the same thing except for one person, and that one person gets really defensive and starts getting upset just because they're like the odd one out. This is what Dana White feels like. He's being told by all of his fan base and the media that Jon Jones is not the best fighter in the world anymore because he's fought once in 4 years. He didn't fight Francis Ngannou. He hasn't fought Tom Aspinall. He's been inactive. And he gets so worked up about it. And look, I'm not naive to the fact that Dana White is trying to promote a fight. We've known for a long time that Jon Jones is going to fight Stipe in November at Madison Square Garden. That's been the plan all along. That's what's going to happen. So we know he's trying to promote his fight. But in the same time as he's trying to promote Jon Jones, he's really diminishing what Tom Aspinall has been able to do. He's diminishing Alex Pereira. These guys who are... I mean, Alex Pereira is the same age as Jones, but he feels younger. Tom Aspinall's like a 30-year-old up-and-coming champion who he should be bolstering. He should be propping him up. He should be doing everything he can to promote Tom Aspinall. But instead, every opportunity he gets, he's talking about how great Jon Jones is and how Tom Aspinall still hasn't proven himself in the UFC. I mean, I'm not sure what else Tom Aspinall needs to do to prove himself in the UFC. He's taken out all the guys put up against him. He's been active. He's shown how much skill he has in every area of MMA. So what is going on here, Dana? Like, is this just promotion or is this something else? Does Jon Jones have some dirt on Dana White? I just watched Kevin Iole's interview of Dana White, which was on earlier today, and it was pretty good actually. He probed him with some questions, but I almost wish he pushed him a little bit harder. He did give him some pushback, but I feel like he could have gone a little bit harder. I'm going to play a bit of the interview so you guys can see it.
Him for a shot at the heavyweight title.
This title fight was supposed to happen a long time ago. You know, all the things that happened from injuries to whatever else that got in the way.
What else got in the way? Like, I know there was the injury with Jones and his pec. What else got in the way?
Total respect fight. I think they both deserve it. And, you know, at the end of the day, I get it.
I'm just going to hold it there. If this is just a respect fight for Stipe and Jon Jones, that's fine. That's totally fine. Why is it for the belt though? Jon Jones should have relinquished his belt, and this can be a legacy respect fight between two all-time greats, and don't have a belt on the line. Let Tom Aspinall fight for the belt. Let him defend his belt.
Tell you what, after Stipe and Jon fight, whoever wins, the Aspinall fight's even bigger.
But then you know the next question, which is going to be, of course, you know, Jon has hinted quite a bit at retirement. And Stipe flat out said, I don't want to fight anybody else but Jon Jones, right? And
100% going to retire. Absolutely.
Okay, so you're giving a guy a title shot that you know is 100% going to retire. What if Stipe wins? What happens if Stipe wins and then he retires? He's going to vacate the belt. Tom Aspinall gets moved to the champion. And then Jon Jones, what's he do? He probably retires as well. This is the stupidest fucking fight I've ever seen.
Listen, Jon Jones said this. You know how I talk about Jon Jones and what I think of Jon Jones.
We all know. We all know. We've been hearing it every day for the last 6 months. But let's hear it again. Let's hear what he thinks of Jon Jones.
As a fighter, Jon Jones always loves to challenge himself. I don't know what Jon Jones will do after this fight, but I would be shocked if he didn't want to test himself against Aspinall.
What if he loses? So is this like... Is Dana White selling this as an actual fight between Stipe and Jon Jones, or is this just a layup for Jon Jones? Because he hasn't addressed the fact that what happens if Stipe wins?
Now listen, everything that I've been saying, right? These are fucking facts.
That's not a fact, okay? Jon Jones wanting to challenge himself, I'm sorry, that is not a fact. Somebody who's tested positive multiple times for PEDs isn't somebody who wants to challenge themselves. Somebody who turned down a fight on short notice against a middleweight Chael Sonnen is not someone who wants to challenge themselves. Alex Pereira is somebody who wants to challenge themselves. Alex Volkanovski is somebody who wants to challenge themselves. Tom Aspinall stepped in on a week's notice to fight the scariest dude in the UFC heavyweight division, is somebody who wants to challenge themselves. Jon Jones took 3 years off to move up 15 pounds. I'll repeat that. Jon Jones took 3 years off. He took 3 years off conveniently while Francis Ngannou was in negotiations with the UFC.
These are facts. It's not like me and Jon Jones have this unbelievable relationship.
Yeah.
We know this is not the case. What I am saying about Jon Jones is undebatable what this guy has accomplished in his career.
Don't forget the Dominic Reyes fight, which he arguably lost. The Anthony Smith fight, which he should have been disqualified for, or should have been no contest. That's debatable, man. Gustafsson fight, number 1, that's debatable.
If he beats Stipe and he comes out and fights Tom Aspinall and beats him, nobody, don't care how much you dislike Jon Jones for what he's done or what he's done. This isn't about personally who is Jon Jones and do you like him. We're talking about the baddest dude to ever walk the face of the earth in combat sports already. If he goes out and beats Tom Aspinall, he cements his legacy as the greatest fighter of all time.
Okay, I can agree with that. I think every UFC fan agrees with that. The problem is you're selling us a Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones fight, which isn't happening. It's not happening. Jon Jones is fighting Stipe Miocic. If Jon Jones were to beat Tom Aspinall, there would be no argument. The guy cleared through the light heavyweight division, moved up to heavyweight, and beat who I think is the best heavyweight in the world right now, and who a lot of other people do. Now, if you wanted to put a cherry on top of that, then he fights Alex Pereira and beats him too, whether it's 205 or heavyweight, I don't care. If he does that, everyone will shut the fuck up. But you have him build to fight a 42-year-old who has not fought in 5 years right now, okay? Sorry, he hasn't won in 5 years. He hasn't fought in 4 years. So you're selling us on the next fight. We don't even know if the next fight's going to happen. That's the problem.
I agree with you. I think Jones is the greatest fighter of all time, no doubt. And if he had a fight, and I have a rule when I say if you haven't fought in a year unless you have a fight scheduled, I don't include you in pound for pound because it's for active guys. The minute Jon fights, he goes back into the list, right? But given that he's not fighting,
look at Dana's face when he says that. He's so upset about that. Yeah, if you haven't fought in a year, you're not in the pound for pound discussion. And if you fought once in 4 years against a kickboxer, then you're definitely not in the pound for pound discussion, man.
Is that fair where other guys are going out there and competing?
Jon Jones is ranked number 3.
Here it comes. Here it comes. Dana White goes full glaze mode.
Pound for pound in the world.
Fight in the
That's
UFC.
the most fucking ridiculous, embarrassing, stupid, know nothing about fucking fighting.
It's your ranking, Dana. You run the UFC. This isn't some random list that ESPN made or something. This is the UFC pound for pound list. He's calling his employees or the media, whoever makes this list, whoever votes on this list, he's calling them morons.
He got injured. He was supposed to fight. He's going to fight again in November. Jon Jones is the number 1.
Just on that, on the injury, Tom Aspinall tore his MCL in July of 2022, and by July of 2023, he was back fighting. An MCL. Jon Jones has been out for over a year now. No, sorry. He got injured over a year ago. I think it was 13 months ago now. He's been out for a year and a half, and he's not fighting again until November.
Pound for pound fighter in the world, period, end of story. Whoever, whether you want to call, Islam, Pereira, number 2, number 3, all good. To have anybody above Jon Jones right now just goes to show that you know absolutely fucking nothing about combat sports and fighting.
Nobody knows anything about combat sports and fighting except Dana White, is what he's saying. The media, the fans who watch it, the fighters, nobody knows anything about combat sports and fighting except for Dana White.
Muhammad Ali was never the same again. after his 3-year layoff, right? And Muhammad Ali wasn't doing bad things to himself.
Right.
Like Jon Jones was.
So Jon Jones gets extra points for being a drug addict and an alcoholic, I guess, and taking steroids.
And Jon Jones comes back and looks even better.
He literally got a dream matchup. A guy who cannot grapple, does not grapple. He's a kickboxer. He's a big dude. He's athletic. He's fast. But, like, come on. Cyril Gane? Let's see him go up against someone with grappling. Even Curtis Blades, I would like to see.
It's undebatable. It's undebatable. Anybody who even tries to debate this with me, you're just hating on Jon Jones and you don't like him as a person. And I get it, but it's not about whether you like him or don't like him or whatever.
Okay, that's enough of that. So that was Dana White's rant about Jon Jones. Clearly he's got some sort of dirt on Dana White for him to be going into bat for him so often and getting so heated about this, mainly this pound for pound thing, which honestly, it doesn't even matter. The pound for pound thing is so secondary. Like, we saw how ridiculous the pound for pound was when Volk was ranked #1 and Islam was #2, and Islam beats Volk, and then they don't move Islam to #1. Dana White is saying that anybody who argues with him about Jon Jones being pound for pound #1 doesn't know anything about fighting. Well, you need to have a fucking staff meeting, bro. And you need to ask the people who are on your paybook why they are putting Jon Jones at #3, because they obviously don't know anything about fighting, and they're covering the sport, and they're a part of the UFC. So that's #1. #2, the fans, I don't think, really care about this pound for pound list at all. I don't care. Nobody really gives a fuck about the pound for pound. It's the fight. It's the fact that you are completely gaslighting everyone and trying to sell us a fight that we all know doesn't make sense and doesn't matter. You've just said that the guy who's challenging for the heavyweight title, who has been out for 4 years, who hasn't won a fight in 5 years, is 100% going to retire. So if he wins, what are we left with? And even if Jon Jones beats him, what does that even mean? He beat a guy past his prime. I don't think many people have too much confidence that Jon Jones is going to stick around and fight Tom after this fight. It might happen, but that's where the frustration's coming from. It's not about the pound for pound, even though Dana's super upset about it. It's about this fight that doesn't make any sense and that is happening for some strange reason, and somebody needs to do some investigative journalism and figure out why Dana White is going into bat for Jon Jones so hard. I understand the promotion side, but this is next level. This is like, you can't go 2 or 3 days without hearing a Dana White interview on some podcast somewhere or on the podium at a press conference about Jon Jones being the best fucking guy in the world, the best fighter to ever do it, better than Muhammad Ali, best combat sports athlete of all time. It's just like, man, like, fuck. Are you going to watch Stipe versus Jones? Do you think Tom Aspinall should be fighting him instead? Let me know what you think down below if you made it this far, and please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Cheers.